Probably should have told you that up front.
No, I'm good.
Hi, my name's Laurie Gaal. Some people call me Lauren, and I like to work on a lot of mixed media pieces. This is my first time participating at the Under 100 Art Show, and I'm very excited for y'all to see my work on this year's poster. So I heard about the show actually from social media. I saw another prior artist who was talking about her experience with it, and I've been out of practice for a long time, but I felt really inspired and supported and decided just to put my name in, and here we are. So I've been doing art off and on for I guess 15 or 20 years. I took a pause a few years ago, but recently back in full force, really excited just to show what I have in my portfolio. I got started doing art back in school, and I actually went to a performing visual arts program, and I was really excited to learn in high school a lot of art techniques there. So really just carrying that over into my adult life and getting my start young and just keeping that momentum going as I've gotten older. I'm inspired a lot by day-to-day life, people on the street, society. I'm a regular at local music events here, and so I try to often attend live music, and like song lyrics may trigger something. I also actually work in tech, and I work with a lot of like data scientists and like people scientists, and just that kind of view of experiment and being experimental in art often just inspires me to make my best work. So because my work is so technical, a lot of times I love my job. I have a really great job. I get to see data and science at work. And I find having an outlet for that creative side is really empowering for me to have both outlets. And more so, I find that science, that data, really trying to get to the heart of what are we trying to do? What am I trying to create? What am I trying to solve? And keeping some type of overarching theme or idea, pulling that from my work and experience, and the terms, experimental, and nothing's a failure, everything's an experiment. Bringing that over from work into my art has actually allowed me to be a lot more open and creative. So usually I start a piece often on wood board, but a lot of times I just open up the canvas. And so what I mean by that is often I'm actually just going in with a lot of lines and squiggles and color palettes that are going to be used throughout the piece. But I find the hardest thing sometimes is just getting started. And so sometimes I just start and I add a lot of expressive lines and shapes that then either carry forward in the art or I can cover up if I don't like them. But just getting over that barrier to getting started has actually really unlocked a personal style where you see a lot of expressive lines show up throughout my work and they stay in the work all the way through. For this piece, this is part actually of a 4-piece series. This will be available at the Under 100, the original. And really I was kind of inspired by a series on effervescent youth. And like that free care of walking down the street and just being carefree and inspired by the art in your city. And for this piece, I found a good source image, I drew it, and then I'm starting to get into a habit of if AI can rip me off, I can rip myself off. So I'll repeat an image in a software and recreate it over and over again to show that movement. And then from there, bring it into the art. Yeah, I think when I look at this piece, what I see is just kind of freedom. It's, doing your own thing, living your life. What people may not know is sometimes I start my work with like pull out pages for books. So under here, there's actually book pages that were kind of that inspiration as I built up the colors. So just trying to layer it all together to kind of bring that, that life in the piece. For me, an art piece is done when I feel like going back to that initial, what am I trying to solve for, has been answered. And a lot of times, it's telling myself to stop. I used to teach paint nights, and I would tell my students, for the love of God, put your brush down, don't overwork it. And I think starting to have that same priority in my work of something's done. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's actually that expressiveness that makes it unique and done. So really just trying to tell myself to stop when I feel like I've created the intentional vision. So years ago, I think about 8 or so years ago, I stopped doing art. And, I made a choice to go a different direction with my career. And, there's always a lot of what could have been for art. And now I just entered my 30s. And actually last year, my appendix ruptured. I actually almost died, just to be dramatic. I'm fine now, it's cool. But, having that near death moment in my mind, it's like, why am I on this earth? What the hell am I here to do? And, really trying to get back into it. I made it a promise to myself last year that I'm gonna go full force into art. And I'm gonna keep that passion alive and keep it up. I actually started making miniatures. I make little miniature models, actually working on an exact replica of my real house right now. And that kind of allowed me to get into work. And now I'm getting more into my deep creative process. So actually having a moment of, if I was to die today, what value would I bring is actually what enabled me in this last year to get back into art with a full force. So art allows me to be myself because I think, like most artists, I have a lot of big feels and, needing to get them out in some type of outlet, especially having a very professional career, having some place where I can maybe get a little gritty and a little rough with it and just kind of put my thoughts and what I'm experiencing into a canvas where someone may get it, some may not, but regardless, it's having that ability to share your vision, your ideas, your feelings in an outlet that just, feels safe. And that's what art is for me. So the types of works I'm going to be bringing to the show, a lot of large original pieces, a lot of pieces on wood, a lot of mixed media. I like to focus a lot on painting people or, inspired by society. So you're going to see, I can't paint a landscape, but I can, really create some unique mixed media pieces. So hoping to bring some of those, hopefully they interest folks, and excited to have some of my art hopefully hanging in your house. What last thing I'd want to say is we have such a vibrant city. I often enjoy a lot of the live local music here, and people are often sharing their soul with me through their art, and I'm excited to do the same with you. So really excited to share who I am and my passion through my art and really give into that community that's given me so much over the years.